Welcome to Sage Audio. Today let's look at the top 10 vocal tuning tips. But first, if you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Use high pass filter first. Tuners are somewhat finicky when it comes to what they determine as notes. That said, it's best to remove any non-musical signals from your vocal before tuning. I'll use an EQ with a high pass filter to remove everything below the vocal's fundamental or its lowest note. This will make it easier for the tuner to measure the pitch of the signal, resulting in more accurate tuning. So let's take a listen and note that the difference is going to be small and it can vary from tuner to tuner, but it's going to be beneficial nonetheless.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
DS before tuning. Like last chapter, unwanted frequencies can be difficult for a tuner to recognize. Now, one of the biggest examples of this is sibilants or S sounds. Now, I've noticed that even with great tuners like Melodyne that try to account for these types of frequencies, sibilants can still be accidentally tuned, causing weird phase cancellation. Now, with that in mind, I'll DS the vocal before tuning it to reduce the level of sibilants, making it less likely to be recognized as a note by the tuner. So let's take a listen and notice that although it's subtle, this helps to reduce unwanted tuning.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
If you're enjoying the video, hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It's free and it helps us bring you more videos. Helpful Melodyne tips. Let's take a look at Melodyne's essential plugin. To use it, I need to insert it on the vocal, click trigger, and then play back the signal. Now, after measuring the signal, I want to ensure that the key is correct and that the algorithm being used is set to melodic. Now, I get the best results when I tune everything to 100% with a moderate pitch drift setting, and then I go in and drag some notes slightly to humanize the sound. Lastly, I'll subtly use the dynamics function, which will emphasize the now tuned signal by amplifying quieter parts of the performance. Let's take a listen.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
Helpful Metatune tips. Metatune is quickly becoming another popular tuning option. First, I'll set the key, in this case B major, and then I'll enable the shortest setting for note stabilization. Using the sustain function, I'll input a negative value to dynamically lower the speed of the tuning, resulting in a natural sound. Now, if you want a more obvious tuning effect, you could simply increase the speed. So let's take a listen to how Metatune affects the vocal performance.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
Using a stock tuner. Getting a good sound out of a stock tuner can be tricky, so here's a couple tricks that I use to make it sound better. First, I time the tuning speed to 1/4 note in milliseconds. Now, I find this value by dividing 60,000 by my session's BPM, in this case 127. Although this won't make the transitions completely seamless, it times them to the track, making them slightly less noticeable when covered by snare hits or other in-time instrumentation. Again, I'll set the scale to B major for this particular vocal, but if I notice that the signal is consistently triggering an out-of-key note, I'll first enable the note, in this case C, then I'll bypass it. Now, what this does is allow the vocal to first occupy C without being snapped to C sharp, then the bypass function disables any tuning to C. As a result, the note is going to go untuned, which isn't ideal, but it's definitely better than having a note sound artificially tuned. So let's take a listen to what Logic Stock Tuner does to the vocal.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
Quick Antares Autotune overview. The version of Autotune that I'm using here is pretty limited, but let's take a quick look regardless. Again, I'll set my key to B major for this particular vocal before reducing the tune speed to slow and the humanize function to its maximum setting. Now, the only other thing that I can do to alter the sound is enable or disable the trigger sensitivity in the settings. So not much to cover here, but in case this is what you're using, I wanted to give it an overview. Let's take a listen.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
Waves Tune Tips. Last up, for looking at specific tuners, let's cover the light version of WavesTune. Now with this plugin, I'll set the scale again, which is going to show me which notes are out of key. Then I can delete any irrelevant notes and drag any notes that need to be repositioned. Now the easiest thing to miss about this plugin is that the speed, the note transition, and the pitch correction don't have to apply to the full section. Now each note can have distinct settings, making it easier to fine-tune and get a natural sound. So let's take a listen to how the WavesTune plugin affects the audio.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
If you're enjoying the channel, use the search box to watch more of our videos. Why you should saturate after tuning. Regardless of the tuner that you're using, you should almost always saturate the vocal after you're done tuning. Now, saturation imparts harmonics or overtones of the fundamental frequency. If this fundamental is in tune, then the harmonics are going to be in tune as well, causing more of the overall frequency response to be in tune. Now, by increasing the ratio of the vocal's in-tune frequencies to out-of-tune ones, we essentially augment any tuning that we've done so far, but without the artifacts that a tuner can introduce. So let's listen to how saturation, in particular the harmonics that saturation generates, improves the sound of the vocal.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
Using Soothe 2 after tuning. Like I said in the last chapter, tuning can introduce unwanted artifacts. Now I've also noticed that it can create unwanted resonances, usually in the low mids to mids. For this reason, I like to use Soothe 2 after tuning to dynamically attenuate any unwanted resonances caused by that tuning. Now with the pre-EQ function, I'll emphasize resonance reduction of the areas that are most affected by my tuning. So let's take a listen to how Soothe 2 improves the clarity of the vocal and reduces some of the artifacts that I just talked about.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
If needed, avoid tuning occasionally. Sometimes when you're tuning, a note simply won't tune correctly or sound correct when it's tuned. When that's the case, don't be afraid to omit the note or passage from being tuned. To do this, I usually just isolate the clip and bring it to a track without a tuner. You could also automate the bypass of the tuner, but I find that takes more time and doesn't always work well if latency is involved. So let's take a listen to a vocal with parts that are omitted from tuning and notice how it can be done without any issues if we just isolate the clip.
Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there. Thought we were going somewhere, maybe we'd find it and stay there.
If you have a mix that you need mastered, send it to us to receive a free mastered sample of it with the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching.